football was played, and a number of Georgia Bulldogs made their name known on a national stage, which is great for us. And then another handful of dogs made their name known on a different stage and in a far less flattering capacity.
Oh, no.
We're going to talk about next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint, I am Daniel, and they are LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn bringing you today's episode. More on them in a moment. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen of the day.
Come on.
So happy to have you aboard during this off season for football, basketball season. Happy to be with you. We got lots to talk about. There's plenty for us to get to. And so glad you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that. You can also send us an email, lockedonbulldogs@gmail.com, if you want to reach out. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you want us to talk about on the show. We're always open to that kind of feedback. Today, Clint, we're talking about the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl. Just the
Reese's.
Sponsored by Peanut Butter Cups. Yeah, I've always said Reese's. Some people say Reese's.
It's Reese's.
But I've always said Reese's.
Hot take, I can't stand Reese's.
That is a hot take. Reese's is a fantastic candy. A lot of dogs putting their talents on display, some on offense, some on defense. Going to talk about them. Before we get into that, Clint, how do you feel about the Senior Bowl at large? Like, what's the place of the Senior Bowl in the landscape of college football for you?
It's a pre-combine combine. Daniel,
sure.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
If you're telling me that it's a pre-combine combine to allow those who have developed and stuck it out and found their little niche within the college football landscape, if you're telling me they get an opportunity to show that on display, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. There's not one thing about it that makes me feel upset. It only encourages guys like who we're going to talk about today to continue grinding and doing the hard work and showing out. So I'm pro this. I'm for this. If anybody has a problem with the Senior Bowl, stop. Stop.
Sound advice from Clint to you. Senior Bowl is great. Great opportunity for these kids. And I think we've seen in recent years, I think it's something that NFL scouts, NFL GMs they actually look at. They pay attention to it. It's not in-season competitive football, but it is competitive football. That there's a lot of scouts at practices. A lot of NFL people getting to watch the workouts and the one-on-ones and the drills.
Coaching the Senior Bowl, Daniel. The NFL coaches, because you get to see how these guys respond to the actual coaches that are in the league.
To coaching. Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. That's your future employer. It's like a free day at the office to see how you're going to respond to the workplace environment. It's fantastic all the way around.
4 names we're going to get to on the pod today. 2 on offense, 2 on defense. Let's start with the offensive guys first. A couple of receivers stood out in Senior Bowl. Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint, caught a nice little touchdown pass. We both really like Marcus Rosemy and his NFL future. I think he's going to make an NFL team. I think he's got some. I think he's got some Javon Wims to his game. I think he's going to make an NFL roster. I think he can compete in the league. He really it's not as you don't think of it as much as you do with Kendall Milton, but Marcus Rosemy's injury plagued career, I think really hampered his development at Georgia. And I think we could see something. We're both on record as saying Kendall Milton, the best version of Kendall Milton is yet to come. We're going to see it in the league, not at Georgia. He's going to be better.
And let us stipulate the best version of Kendall Milton, if it happens in the league, will equate to a top 3 running back in the league.
Real good. I think the same might be true of Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. I think the injuries really did hamper his career, and I think you saw flashes. I mean, you and I were at the Kentucky game, Clint. Hello.
Ooh.
You saw flashes of things from him that just it gave you some feelings, and we saw a little bit of that in the Senior Bowl. And so I think important performance for him of all 4 guys that we're going to talk about today. I think maybe the most important for him, his performance at the Senior Bowl. Maybe just because he has a little bit more to prove than these other 3 guys. But the other receiver is Ladd McConkey. And I'm not sure if you know this, Clint. Everywhere Ladd McConkey goes, people are like, oh, crap, he's really good at football.
He can do the footballing. Like, hold on. What you're looking for is a player to get on the field and produce in the football. That's what you're hoping to accomplish?
A football player is quite literally what it is you're looking for. Yeah.
Oh, then that's Ladd McConkey. Like, he just does it at all times. I was actually going to say Chris Conley, Lawrence Cager for Rosemy-Jacksaint, like guys who make a team. We loved Chris Conley, Lawrence Cager at Georgia. They had ceiling to do so, and a couple of odd bounces here and there, and a couple of things not rolling their way. Lawrence Cager injured as well while at Georgia and came on late.
Going to make some money in his career, though.
He is going to make some money in his career.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right. But Ladd McConkey, let's make no mistake, Ladd McConkey might end up being a Thielen-esque, a dude who just goes up, much like Deebo Samuel was not the type of player. I'm not saying their games are the same. What I'm saying is Deebo Samuel, when he got to the league, accentuated all of a sudden from college. Ladd McConkey can accentuate coming out of college and outperform his draft stock as well as his numbers in college.
He may just go ahead and play himself into the first round, though. Like, he keeps... The more people get a chance to look at him, the more he might just... Do you remember when Stetson Bennett was an undrafted free agent, 7th round pick?
Then what happened?
Like, barely going to scratch the 7th round. Like, the more people get to see him and be in front of him,
that's right,
the more people are going to go, well, what are the receivers that are better than him in this draft class? Like, let's forget about all the hype and hoopla and whatever. And I'm not saying there aren't any, because there are some. Like, there are a few wide receivers that I would say, objectively speaking, are better than Ladd McConkey. But it ain't 5. It's not a whole handful of receivers. It's maybe 2 or 3 in this draft class are better than Ladd McConkey objectively.
But Daniel, he's undersized. But Daniel,
is he?
He's not.
He's not. That's
you tell me what a prototypical wide receiver in the league, his size. Oh, is it anywhere ranging from 5'8" to 6'5"? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Is it anywhere between 180 and 225? Yes. Yes, it is. Can you catch the ball? Or in the case of
DK Metcalf, 308 or whatever he weighs these days? I mean,
okay. Not gonna lie, that dude is something. That dude's something else.
That's not a human person.
He was once in a petri dish and had a couple and then they just expanded him. He's a freak. Ladd McConkey.
No, you look at the guys in the league, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Like, these are not prototypical. Stop it with the prototypical.
How about St. Brown? How about over at the Lions? Guy that made an explosive offense. Is he Megatron? Is he Megatron status? Is he? No, he's not.
It with the prototypical. It doesn't make any sense anymore, guys. It doesn't make any sense anymore. It ain't Julio Jones and Megatron and running around out there. It's not Randy Moss out there anymore,
Nope.
guys. Like, it's not. Just stop it. All right. We got more guys to talk about. 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball that we want to get to right after these.
When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and free. Daniel and I know what it's like to compile a team of people. Sometimes you end up with an extra person on your team you didn't anticipate, and that's just bonus for you. Sometimes you just say the team's off here, and that's all we need. Sometimes you're trying to decrease the team. Sometimes you're expanding the team. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else.
That's
LinkedIn does
correct.
all this while process is easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. It happens so quick. It just takes one night, Daniel, is what I'm saying,
You
to
don't
get the
even
team
know.
that you need.
You don't even know
LinkedIn-
how quick it can happen.
LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and may not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Speaking of professionalism you can't find anywhere else, the Locked On Bulldogs podcast is here for you. Quick update for the people listening. We're recording this quite late at night, and it's not my man over there. He can't be helped. Like, sometimes he can't be helped. All right, Clint, back on the rails. Everything's going fine.
Fine. No, it's going fine, Daniel. It's going fine. We're back on the rails. So that's the key to this. We're going to talk about 2 defensive players now in the Senior Bowl with the Reese's Cup of Senior Bowls, and that is Javon Bullard and Tyke Smith.
Yep.
And don't worry, I'm just going to keep going for you, and I'm going to let the people know.
I'm in.
Now he's in.
I'm in.
Bullard and Tyke Smith. Daniel, 2 names at the safety position, kind of similar-esque players if we just look just on the surface, right? They have similar build, similar body, similar speed, similar a lot of things within their game seems to translate to the NFL. But at the Senior Bowl, they impressed in practice with these NFL coaches. They took coaching well. They knew how to speak. They knew how to retain information. And that's the biggest thing. When you get into the college ranks, it's so much faster. Just the athletes are so much quicker in college. But then you get to the NFL and you got to handle your business. Professionalism, retaining information, playbook, scheming, knowing the fits very, very well. And that's where I think Tyke Smith and Javon Bullard are going to excel, Daniel, a great deal. And they, from all accounts, that's what the coaches said. Coaches said, no, these guys are sponges. They were making plays all over the place. There were a couple of plays in the Senior Bowl game itself that allowed drives to continue. But pass breakups, tackles, you saw form tackling, technique tackling, physicality, speed, and just an incredible awareness on the football field, Daniel. Which is not a shock to us. There's nothing shocking about this whatsoever.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. I might have the order flip-flopped, but I believe Javon Bullard won defensive MVP of the Senior Bowl for his team. And Tyke Smith, when voted upon by the wide receivers he went up against one-on-one in practice all week,
this is interesting,
who the best defensive back was on the team, again, voted on by the guys who went against him one-on-one all week, they said Tyke Smith. And so I would say that's availing yourself pretty well to the moment, to the opportunity. One of them was basically the practice MVP, and one of them was the game MVP for their respective defensive units. And no one is surprised who's listening to this podcast. No one
No.
is like, oh, really? Javon Bullard on a football field did something good? How could I have imagined that would happen? Oh, wait, it's literally all he did.
It's what he
for
does.
his years in Athens. It is literally, quite literally, what he does. I think those two guys, we've said it before, are going to absolutely make a GM very, very happy in the NFL. And it's no surprise. Danny Cannell tried to tell us all week that the Florida State wide receivers were absolutely just cooking the Georgia defensive backs out there. Absolutely just. He found one video clip on Twitter and he ran with it. Pray for Danny Cannell, y'all.
No.
He's down bad. It's
If
a
you got
tough
that
scene
chain
over there.
grab somebody's hand and just make a circle around him because he needs all the help he can.
Yeah. Yeah, they down bad over there at Florida State. I mean, it's not Alabama. Florida State's coach did turn down the Alabama job. So I guess if Florida State's down bad, what's Alabama?
They got their first choice.
Yeah, so now I recall.
Do you
recall?
There were no other calls. They went straight to him the day after Saban retired, straight to Caitlin. Kyler.
Yes, Karen. It's Karen.
Okay.
No.
Yep.
He's doing great so far, Kalen DeBoer.
We're just being
you,
Bama fans, by the way. We're just being you.
It's these two defensive backs, Tyke Smith and Javon Bullard. You're an NFL GM, Clint. Can you make a case for Tyke Smith over Javon Bullard in this draft? Or is it definitely for you, Javon Bullard is your first pick and Tyke Smith is your second?
I can't make any case. I said earlier that their games are similar, their size, their speed, but Javon Bullard is the better talent than Tyke. And I wouldn't look too much in the development. Tyke took some time to really get All-American freshman, West Virginia, comes over to Georgia. Can't find the field for a while because it's stacked at Georgia. Gets on the field, gets developed, gets coached up, incredible coaching pedigree, and then continues to accelerate. But Javon Bullard is it, Daniel. I think he's the better tackler. I think Tyke may have him in a back pedal coming downhill. Bullard is it. There is no doubt in my mind coming on that alley to do so. And I think as well, even getting in the hip pocket and running with a receiver, Bullard is it as well. I think Tyke is better in a zone scheme, but a man slot coming down and run support. It's Bullard, and I have no problem saying so. I can't make a case for Tyke above him. Can you?
No, I think you're right about that. I think they're both going to be good players, but Javon Bullard's he's just a football player. He's just one of those guys that, like, are you really going to bet that he's not going to be good in the league? Like, I don't see how you could do it. Like, how could Javon Bullard, let me pose it to you this way. How could Javon Bullard be drafted by any other team than the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because it seems like a foregone conclusion already, doesn't it? First of all, we know Pittsburgh loves drafting Georgia players. All right. Yep. And why would they not? They've got Jorge, they've got Broderick Jones, they've got Darnell Washington. Like, they're just stacking Georgia players over there. How do you not add Javon Bullard? That's Mike Tomlin coaching Javon Bullard. I'm sorry, but it's just a little too much football for
the other team early in the second round. I think trade wise, they might be middle of the second round. I forget how the trades worked out, but could you imagine the NFL version of Kirby Smart? I think is DeMeco Ryans with the Texans.
Oh, yep.
Could you imagine Bullard on a Texans uniform? That pops, y'all.
I mean, or the Lions. We just talked about.
They need DB help in a hurry.
They need football players, and Javon Bullard's one of them. Yeah, I mean, these guys, again, great opportunity for them at the Senior Bowl. Excited to see what the NFL draft, as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, which is still a long way away. But as we get closer, it'll be exciting to see where those guys' stock is trending. We got more to discuss, and we will do so right after this.
But this is, in fact, FanDuel. FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more. Happy Super Bowl to all celebrate this week.
that's
We have Super Bowl
everyone.
week. It's America's #1 sportsbook is FanDuel. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snack, and placing some super bets.
What is the best seat on the couch? You like the right armrest or the left armrest, Clint?
Like the left armrest. I like
You
the
like the left
armrest.
arm up.
I do like the left arm up. It's my hold the beverage container hand, and my right arm is free.
It's the eating
to move
hand.
about. Is the
Yeah.
eating hand, Daniel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't hate it.
Just find your spot on the couch. You have it. We all have it.
Mhm.
FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a dub or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet who's going to win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today and get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Daniel, the 199 is here with us. They made it through the first ad read. They have no clue what we're talking about. However, they're all about it. They're going to find out. They're going to ask because they're the 199.
They're here for it. We're going to
and they are
drive them
here.
away.
No, you
We're
can't.
gonna-
You couldn't drive the 199 away.
You're right. No,
with-
you're right.
With an incessant Danny Cannell Twitter fest, they would bear through it. So
I mean, believe
Loyal
me,
Thursday.
we've tried to drive them away with virtually all means possible, but they're still
by
here.
just being us, and they said
Correct.
we
So
like
we're-
laughing at these two idiots.
We're in for it. Let's talk about a basketball game, Clint. And I'm not going to lie to you; it's hard for me to.
Oh,
bury
so we're
the
going to do
lead.
the opposite of talking about the Senior Bowl. We were happy, and now let's get sad.
This game does matter, and we're sad about it, as opposed to the Senior Bowl, which doesn't matter, and we're happy about it. It's hard for me to discuss this basketball game. I do not want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about this team. And here's what I'm going to lead with, Clint.
Okay.
First of all, if you're a person that cares enough about Georgia basketball to
Should be you.
slander this
100.
team on Twitter, then you're halfway there. Like I'm willing to at least congratulate you on the first thing. But let me be totally clear. I am insanely disappointed with the outcome of these last several games. I am insanely disappointed in the way that this team has been playing and handling their business. I'm disappointed in Mike White and the coaching. I'm disappointed in the performance of the players. But if you don't realize that this team this year had no business being good enough to disappoint you, then you have fundamentally missed where we are in the process.
Here's where we were last year. Hey, Daniel, we lost by double digits in the SEC, and second time in a row we've lost big games like that. We'd be like, well, okay, I understand, totally get it. Recruiting, got to build up, get the transfer portal. I understand there were some really good minutes for the young guys. Get them out there, get some experience. That's not what we're saying now. We say we lost by double digits, and we're saying what a wild disappointment. We were up by more than double. We were up by more than 10. And
We should have beaten that top 10 ranked team in the ranking system that actually matters. That top 10 ranked team, we looked like we were better than them. We should have beaten them. That's what we're saying.
Holy jeez. Daniel, I just don't understand. Again, the students, UGA, are catching on to this because that place was packed. It was
The
loud.
atmosphere has been
It was
great.
exciting. So that's not going off. What's really wild, you said this a little bit of preview. You said, we got to watch the defensive side of the ball. Daniel, what an atrocious showing for the defense, especially in the second half. With about 5 minutes to go in the first half, it was already showing wear and tear on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And then the dam just broke and the floodgates come roaring out.
Everybody's talking about how Georgia could not score the basketball in the second half. And that is obviously
It's true.
a huge factor in us losing that game. But don't mistake the fact that South Carolina had 2 7-footers, and they absolutely owned the middle of the floor, and we could not do anything to stop them. We had Blue Cane switched off on 7-footers trying to box them out and just absolutely getting punked in the lane. It was embarrassing. I thought the coaching was disappointing. I thought Mike White stuck with some lineups that I just are unbelievable to me that we would try to stick with in those environments. But ultimately, like, we couldn't hit any shots. We couldn't get any stops. We just choked that game away. We weren't good enough to win it. We're not a winning basketball team right now. We are way better than we ought to be for where we are in the process. And it was always going to be true that what happens this offseason with this basketball team, meaning who stays
There it is.
in Athens after the season is over.
Hey, Silas, what's up?
We need people to stay. What happens in this offseason will determine the future of Mike White and the Georgia basketball program. I honestly believe that if everyone who's eligible to stay stays, because we're talking about not just Silas and Blue, we're talking about the other 2 freshmen, Dylan James and Mari Jordan, both of which are very good players, have not gotten a lot of playing time this year. But also RJ Melendez still has eligibility. Also, Jalen Deloach still has eligibility. There's plenty of guys on this team. If they stay, combined with the recruiting class and the transfer class that Mike White's going to bring in, I mean, I'm telling you, I genuinely believe that that's the most important thing that's going to happen with this basketball team. But we got to win some of these games. It's just so frustrating to be so close.
Yes.
And never be able to get over the top.
I think what was frustrating is we win this game. NCAA tournament is almost, I feel good making a bet. Like, if you gave me odds of us making the tournament, I'd feel really good if we won on Saturday. With the loss, now I'm the opposite. Now I'm worried. Oh man, are we going to do it? That would have been an incredible resume builder.
It's not. Georgia still very much has a way to get in the NCAA tournament, but they just 100%. Not playing the way that they're playing right now. It's a while. The reason you shouldn't be optimistic about the tournament right now, and I'm not, is because how we're playing, not because of the results. And so the results have not hurt us in terms of like, oh, we're out now because we have too many. Like, that's not the case.
No.
It's
that we
the
can't
fact
keep
that
this
I don't trust
up.
this team. I don't trust this team to be able to win these games down the stretch. But Georgia's still got some very big games on the schedule. Florida comes to town. Auburn comes to town. This game this week on the road at Mississippi State, massive opportunity. Another quad 1 game, another opportunity to get a big win for this team. And again, a quad 1 win is a quad 1 win. And so there's still plenty of opportunities on the table. I just don't know that I trust this group to be able to get it done. Not enough shot makers on the team.
That was evident.
Yeah.
He is Daniel. I'm Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.